Hello learners, today we are going to discuss one of the very important topic of your online course, that is assessment for learning, and the course code is BES 127, and today's discussion topic is norm referenced and criterion referenced evaluation. Friends, before starting our discussion, let me to introduce myself. I Dr. Niradhar, faculty member, School of Education, Indira Gandhi National Open University. Welcome you all to this video lesson session. Let us go forward. Friends, as you know, presently we are in the third week of your online course, and now the third module, that is approaches of evaluation. We are just going through the third module of the online course, that is approaches to evaluation. In this module, you will find two video lessons are there. First is approaches to evaluation, that is placement, formative, diagnostic and summative evaluation. And the second video lesson, that is on norm referenced and criterion referenced evaluation. Friends, I have already discussed in my earlier session about approaches to evaluation, that is placement, formative, diagnostic and summative. And this is, you can say, this classification of placement, formative, diagnostic and summative evaluation is as per the functions of evaluation. So there are four types or four functions of evaluation. First is the placement function, then formative function, then diagnostic function and summative function. And let me to say, I have said in my earlier video lesson that placement evaluation is conducted before the instructional process, and formative and diagnostic evaluation are conducted during the instructional process. It goes hand to hand simultaneously, and summative evaluation is conducted after the completion of the instructional process. And connecting to these four types of evaluation, today we are going to discuss another classification or another types of evaluation, that is one is norm referenced and other is criterion referenced evaluation. So friends, try to understand that what is the concept of norm referenced and what is the concept of criterion referenced, and how you can differentiate the concept and practices of norm referenced and criterion referenced evaluation. Let us go forward to know the learning outcomes of this video lesson. First of all, after going through this video lesson and at the same time the e-content that you have received in your module in this third week and this third module, you will be able to explain the concept of norm referenced evaluation, and after going through this video lesson you will be able to explain the concept of criterion referenced evaluation, and you will be able to distinguish between norm referenced and criterion referenced evaluation. And at the same time you will also get a lot of insight and a lot of understanding that how you can use the concept of, especially the concept of criterion referenced evaluation in your teaching learning process, when you prepare your teaching and when you engage yourself, or when you are taking a decision that how you can assess the performance of the learners, keeping in consideration of their all-round development of the personalities concerned, that includes both scholastic and post-scholastic abilities of the learner. So how you can plan particularly a criterion referenced test to prepare and to administer it among the learners to whom you are dealing. So today our focus will be on the concept of both types of evaluation. At the same time you will also able to distinguish these two that we practice in the teaching learning process, especially in the assessment component of the teaching learning process. Now let us go forward. As I have already said that in my earlier video lesson we have just discussed four types of evaluation, that is placement, formative, diagnostic and summative evaluation. That classification is as per the functions of evaluation, but here the norm referenced and criterion referenced evaluation or approaches to evaluation, this classification is based on the nature of reference. Okay, so as per the nature of reference, there are two types of evaluation, that is norm referenced and criterion referenced evaluation. So friends, every module is having a assessment component. Every module you will find 10 multiple choice types of quiz questions. So here you see the classification of different types of evaluation so far as the functions of evaluation is concerned, and at the same time the nature of reference of evaluation is concerned. So that's why you're supposed to go through each and every video lessons. At the same time, the content point that are included in your module, that means the e-content that are included in your module. And I'm hopeful that you might be getting questions relating to the classification and types of evaluation so far as its functions and nature of reference is concerned. And so far as the nature of reference is concerned, there are two types of evaluation. One is the norm referenced and the other is the criterion referenced. And friends, in many resources, in many learning materials, even if in different books of measurement and evaluation, books of assessment, school assessment, you will find that different authors they have mentioned, instead of norm referenced evaluation, it may be a norm reference test, or instead of criterion reference evaluation, it may be a criterion reference test. Okay, so no need of any confusion regarding evaluation and test. So here when we say that it is a test, that means you have to develop a test. One test will be based upon certain norm, and the other test will be based upon certain criterion. And if you have developed a test by selecting certain criterion, then you can say that that is a criterion reference test. And if you have developed a test for using it upon a large group of learners, and you have developed certain norm in it, just like if it is a type of standardized test, then you can say that this is a norm reference test. Okay, now let us go forward to understand about the very concept of norm referenced and criterion reference test. First of all, our focus is on norm referenced evaluation or norm reference test. So here you see norm reference test is used to measure one's relative position in a well-defined known group. So friends, here you see I am specifically focusing upon norm reference test is to measure one's relative position in a well-defined known group. So that means first of all one group will be there, and that is a well-defined group. Okay, you have to define that group, and that is the population, you can say. And in that population, in that group, if you analyze the score of the learners, analyze the performance of the learners so far as their relative position or relative rank is concerned, who stood first, who stood second, who stood 10th in order of merit. So if you are interpreting the scores in such way, either in terms of their position or in terms of their rank, then we can say that that is possible through norm referenced evaluation. So friends, let me to give one example so that this concept will more clear. As example, if we want to know Arpita's rank or position in the 10th board examination held in 2019 in the state of West Bengal, that can be done through the norm reference test. So here you see, try to understand. So in my first point, I have focused upon two things. One is there will be one well-defined known group, and in that well-defined known group, you have to analyze, you have to interpret the relative position of a learner, of a student, of a subject. So here you see in this example, first of all, the well-defined known group is, you see 10th board examination held in in the year 2019 in the state of West Bengal. That means West Bengal is a state in India. In that state, in the year 2019, the state board has conducted the 10th board examination. Okay, the West Bengal school board that has conducted the 10th board examination. So that means the list of learners, the list of students who has attended the examination in 2009 in the state of West Bengal, and that is concerned with the state board. Okay, it's not CBSE board. So here the group is well defined. Their number may be in thousands, their number may be in lakhs. So you will find the data that is in the board office. Okay, so you will find the data. But here you see Arpita is one of the learner, is one of the student, and here the Arpita's rank or position in the 10th board examination held in 2019 in the state of West Bengal. That can be done through rank norm reference test. So here you see what I am doing, I am just find out or I am interpreting Arpita's rank. Arpita's rank may be first, maybe second, maybe third, maybe 10th, maybe 100th. So any rank. So when I interpret any individual student's rank in a well-defined known group, then I can say that that is possible to do in a norm referenced evaluation, not by a criterion referenced evaluation. And further, in this example, we compare Arpita's performance with others' performance in that group. You see, in that group, I don't know the number of learners. It may be thousands, in thousands, or it may be in the lakhs. But what we are doing here, we are just comparing the performance of Arpita with other students, with other examinees they had attended 10th board examination in the state of West Bengal, that is in 2019. Okay, so here we are comparing individual score with a group score, and that group score is a well-defined group score. So friends, try to understand more about the concept of norm reference test. So here you see the individual score gives certain meaning when it is compared with the other scores in the group. Here you see, friends, individual score and the group score. Individual score is having very limited meaning or no meaning, you can say. Let a student has secured 60, 70, 80 or 90 or 50 or 30. So what does it mean? Unless you know the scores of other learners, you cannot compare it in a better way. So that's why individual score has very little meaning. But that score, individual score, will be meaningful when you compare with the group score. And what we do in a norm referenced evaluation, we compare the individual performance or the individual score with the group scores. Then for the norm reference test is also a type of standardized test. I have already said that for practicing a test upon a well-defined known group, what we have to do, we have to develop a standardized test. Test is of two types. One is called as the self-made test or teacher-made test, and other is the standardized test. In a standardized test, the test procedures and all these steps for preparing and developing a test are used. Okay, so that's why it may be reliability, it may be validity, it may be norm, it may be usability, and it may be objectivity. So all such steps are followed in a standardized test. Okay, so that's why in a norm referenced evaluation, standardized tests are used. And further, the procedure followed for developing a standardized test is also followed for developing the norm reference test, when marks are evaluated with reference to average. So friends, when you are getting the scores of a group of learners, then you, by using certain statistics, what you can do, you can just analyze and interpret the group scores. Okay, so you can find out the standard deviation, you can find out the average score, and you can compare average score with individual score, and you can also compare that how many students or what percentage of students are above average and what percentage of the students are below average. So in many ways you can analyze and interpret the score, and it is possible through a norm referenced evaluation and norm reference test. And for the other concept of norm referenced evaluation is just like we can express a rank in terms of standing in the group. That means an individual standing in the group, individual's positions in the group. But many a time, certain difficulties is also there with the norm referenced evaluation. Just like, let in a group 10 students are there, in another group 100 students are there. Okay, so here the 7th rank in a group of 10 students and 7th rank in a group of 100 students, if you find out their ability and their performance, their rank, it is though in both the groups it is 7th rank, but so far as ability is concerned, really it is not the 7th rank. In a group of 100, 7th rank is you can say is a good performance, but in a group of only 10, 7th rank students, you can say that in order of rank, that student is occupying the 7th position. Okay, and after that students, you will find only three you can say ranks are there, that is 9th, 8th, 9th and 10th. So that's why if the number of learners, number of subjects are in both the groups are not same, then it is difficult to compare. And at the same time, standing in terms of grades may serve the purpose, but sometimes grades such as A, B, C, D or E, let you assign A grade or B grade or C grade or D or E grade, is not precise because grades cannot be added or averaged. Okay, so many a time you cannot just add to grade. Scientifically you can do it. So, but you will find that the questions many a time the questions are not all questions may not in equal weightage. Okay, so you will find that an objective question may not carries the same weightage in comparison to a subjective question, in comparison to a essay types of question. So that's why keeping in consideration of the weightage of the question, so many a time if assessment has been done in grades, it is also not possible to use in norm referenced evaluation. But standing or a rank may be expressed by percentile norm. If you calculate the percentile rank or the percentile norm, then it can better analyzed. Okay, and when we'll discuss about percentile and percentile rank, then the things will be more clear to you. Let us go forward. Then the other you can say concept relating to norm referenced evaluation is norm referenced achievement test are more familiar, that is highly used in the schooling system, and further norm may be set up on a local basis, a local level, state level or national level. So you can just fix a norm at the local level, at the district level. You can also fix a norm at the state level or at the national level. Okay, so it means who stood fast in a state, in a national level, or who stood fast at the country level, then who stood fast at the state level, then who stood fast at the district level. So norm may be at a local level or norm may be at the state or the national level. Then further we can say as the norm reference tests are prepared for the wide range of the population, so the test items are generally retained which are average in difficulty value. So you will find that the test item or the questions that are included in a norm reference test and or evaluation, the item difficulty value of the test is always average in standard, because this is prepared not for a small group of learners, rather that is prepared for a wide range of population, wide range of students. So that's why average difficulty questions are included in the test. So in criterion referenced evaluation, I have already said that the learner's performance will be compared in a well-defined learning task. So dear learners, you are supposed to understand that what is the learning task. You see, as example, if you say that Arpita successfully solves 60% questions in the chapter of modern history in class 9th text of history. So here you see the well-defined learning task is modern history. Modern history is a chapter which is included in the history subject of class 9th. So here Arpita scored 60%, or successfully solved 60% questions. So here what you are doing, you are just analyzing, you are just interpreting Arpita's performance in a learning task, that is the modern history. Okay, so here we are not concerned about the performance of others. So in this way, in criterion reference test, the performance of the learners are compared or are analyzed or are defined in a well-defined learning task. And further, in criterion reference evaluation, there is no question of comparing one student with other in it. So here we are not comparing individual student, with the group students so far as their performance is concerned. But here definitely we will find out, we will define, we will describe one's performance in a well-defined learning task. That learning task is related with the subject, with the chapter. It may be in different subject. So further, to differentiate between the norm referenced evaluation and criterion referenced evaluation, we have will discuss it with a few parameters, just like so far as the parameter of time of use is concerned. We can say that so far as norm referenced evaluation is concerned, it is used at the end of the term, or naturally the school board examination is the example of the norm reference test. But so far as criterion reference evaluation is concerned, that can be conducted so far as time of use is concerned. So during the progress of instruction, like conduct of class examination, you can also conduct the criterion referenced evaluation. Okay. And further, so far as the other parameter is concerned, like similarities with other tests. So here you see, so far as NRE is concerned, it supports summative evaluation or standardized tests are suitably used. But so far as criterion referenced evaluation is concerned, this is similar with the formative and diagnostic evaluation. And here we use the teacher made test. Okay, that means the test which is prepared by the teacher. Then let us go forward to discuss other differences. So far as the parameter of purpose is concerned, norm referenced evaluation, we conduct norm referenced evaluation to know the relative position or rank of the students in a well-defined known group. Whereas in criterion referenced evaluation, we do it to know individual performance in a well-defined learning task. Earlier we have discussed in the concept. And further, in norm referenced evaluation, you can do the comparison of student which is possible with other student, but here comparison of students with other students is not possible, but you can describe, you can explain one's performance in a well-defined learning task. And further, so far as the parameter of relative or absolute concept or aspect is concerned, we can say that norm reference test is used to ascertain an individual status with respect to the performance of other individual on that test, whereas so far as criterion reference test is concerned, it is used to ascertain an individual status with respect to a defined achievement domain. So here group is given importance in NRE, and achievement of the students is given importance in CRE or CRT, in criterion reference test. Further, so far as the parameter of instructional objective is concerned, we can say that no instructional objective are fixed so far as norm referenced evaluation is concerned. Course objectives are given importance. Okay, course or program objectives are given importance so far as norm referenced evaluation is concerned, because it is concerned with a subject, concerned with an entire content of a course. But so far as criterion reference evaluation is concerned, so far as instructional objectives are developed which may be defined as a standard. So here try to understand the instructional objective you have to set, you have to construct for the criterion reference test, because instructional objectives will be related with the specific content. And so far as population is concerned, norm referenced evaluation is conducted taking a vast population, a huge population, whereas criterion referenced evaluation is conducted taking the students directly the teachers are dealing. Maybe the students the teacher is dealing in his or her classroom. It may be 40 students, it may be 50 students, or it may be more students also. Then further, so far as place of development is concerned, we can say that all steps of standardizing a test are followed, just like to establish the reliability of a test, to validity of a test, norm and item analysis and discrimination are also calculated. Okay, and external evaluation are done so far as norm referenced evaluation is concerned, just like in a board examination. It may be 10th or it may be 12th board examination. But in criterion reference test, no need of establishing norm, no need of establishing the reliability and the validity. Okay, and if you go through the content phase and content validity of the test, then you can use that test upon the group of students to whom you are dealing in your class. Okay, and this is mostly formative in nature, mostly continuous in nature, and it goes in a continuum, and we can say it is mostly internal in nature. And the other differences so far as type of test items are concerned, in a norm referenced evaluation, it can be used both in objective and essay types of items, and popularly objective items are mostly used, but in a criterion reference test all types of items you can take and you can use for preparing SCRT. Then so far as comprehensiveness of the test is concerned, we can say that a norm reference test is typically measures a more general category of competencies, knowledge and aptitude, and further a single norm reference test covers many criterion reference tests, whereas a criterion reference test typically focuses on a more specific domain of examinee's behavior. Okay, it may be from the cognitive domain, from the affective domain, or from the psychomotor domain, because teacher is directly dealing to the students, and as per the purpose, as per the objective, as per the behavioral pattern that you want to measure, you can design your test. And further, many criterion reference tests categorically provide shape of a norm reference test. So criterion reference tests are included in a norm reference test, whereas a norm reference test that includes few criterion reference tests. Let us go forward to differentiate norm reference and criterion reference evaluation so far as the parameter of product is concerned. You see, in norm reference evaluation, it can be used to certify or grade the students, just like a summative type of evaluation, and it can also be used to provide placement to the students for higher study and to get entry in various job fields as well. So friends, try to understand. First of all, we conduct term and examination, norm referenced evaluation to certify or grade the learners, to provide you can say placement to them, to take an entry in a higher program, in a higher course, or at the same time for job recruitment also. But in criterion reference test, we do it, or it can be used to know the learning progress and also to identify learning difficulties of the learner, whether the learning progress is happening properly or not, and whether the students are getting any difficulties. And the students are getting difficulties by using the diagnostic remedial test. The difficulties, the causes and the factors of the difficulties should be identified, and accordingly proper remediation or remedial measures should be provided. And further, minimum level of learning of the students and mastery of the students on any learning task can be determined through or determined by using criterion reference evaluation. And further, this can help the teacher to know the entry behavior of the students, and accordingly they can plan for new teaching. So equally, it also helps the learner to understand the child, help the teacher to understand the students, okay, whether the students are progressing or not, achieving the mastery or not, and the strengths and weaknesses of the students, so that the teacher can design his or her teaching in a right way. Then further, on the basis of criterion reference evaluation, remedial instruction can be provided to the learners for their progress. So friends, in this lesson we discussed about the concept of criterion reference evaluation, and further we also discussed about the norm reference evaluation, and in different parameters we have also differentiate between these two concepts. And as a teacher, you can use this concept, you can prepare a norm reference test as per the concept of a formative test, and you can use it upon the students to whom you are dealing in your class. For further queries, you can write to me niradhar@ignou.ac.in. You can make me a telephone call. My intercom is 2994. You can visit my Facebook. You can visit my YouTube channel and my Twitter handle. You will find many such video lessons on education, on pedagogy, on research that will help you a lot for your studies. Thank you.